Hey guys, and welcome back to my studio. Today we're going to be looking at thumbnails, and we're going to look at why they are really important and how they help you when you're in the middle of painting your painting. You may not have ever heard of thumbnail sketches. You may have heard of thumbnail sketches and you might not understand the importance of them. And I know that when I first started painting, I had no idea the importance of these thumbnail sketches. I thought that they were a waste of time, and I couldn't understand why my teacher was demanding that I do them. I thought, why should I be spending all my time doing these little sketches when I want to get into painting? And now that I've been painting for a little bit longer, I can honestly say I cannot start a painting without first doing a thumbnail sketch. And at times I'll do more than one. Like you can see here, I'm doing multiple variations on the actual same picture, and just seeing seeing what the different relationships between the different objects looks like as I change them as I go along. If you do think that whole idea, well, if I, do spend time doing thumbnail sketches, I'm wasting my time, wouldn't it be better to conserve all my energy and put it down onto the painting? But if I told you that thumbnail sketches, they will not only help you with your painting, they'll help you be more energized when you're painting, as well they help you when you get stuck. If you get stuck in the middle of your painting, which like I always do, I'll be like going along and I'll be happily painting, and then all of a sudden I'll be sitting there thinking, this painting's not working, and I cannot understand why. If I instantly go back to my original thumbnail, which has given me the idea of what I was looking at, it instantly tells me where I've gone wrong. It may be that I've got a tonal relationship wrong, it may be that I've got a shape relationship wrong, but these are going to be informed by looking at these thumbnails, and that's why I find thumbnails really important. And I will always say to my students, thumbnails are a roadmap. They are going to give you an idea of the destination for your major piece. So thumbnails, they are not meant to be final sketches. They are meant to be done very quickly and very efficiently. As you can see, this video has been sped up a bit, but you can see that they're very quick, and they're very small. The objects that I'm putting into my thumbnail sketches, they are not detailed at all. And the way in which I make sure that they're not detailed is I squint at my subject all the time to get the bigger shape and also the tonal, the actual tone of that particular object that I'm looking at. So a good rule of thumb for your thumbnails is that they should be no bigger than 3 centimeters by 6 centimeters, and you shouldn't spend more than 15 minutes on any one thumbnail. You want to be doing it very quickly. You're not trying to put detail in. That's why you want to squint at your subject. You want to squint down, have a look at your objects, and draw the silhouetted shape of the object that you're looking at on your canvas, and then you're basically just putting in the relationship of those shapes. Is this shape bigger than the next shape? Is it darker? Is it lighter? That's what I'm looking for when I'm doing a thumbnail sketch. So as I said, the best way to start is do your boundary, and then start drawing in the different shapes that you can see, your bigger shapes, and then assign a value to it. Decide, is it a dark shape or is it a light shape? I usually try and start with my darkest dark, and then I move on to my mid-tone, and then on to my light tones. The reason why I start with my darkest dark is because it's just the easiest thing for me to see. If you find that you're seeing the lightest light is easier for you, then start with the lightest light. So, it's all very individual, but basically thumbnails, they're meant to be very quick sketches. They're not meant to be very big, and they're supposed to be done very quickly. And what you're trying to look and see is you're trying to see the relationship between the different shapes. As you can see in this one, I've now started a floral arrangement of a couple of roses in a little cup on a tabletop, and you can see in that very first sketch that I did, it's basically the dark cup merges into the dark background. The tabletop is a mid-tone, and then the light shapes of the actual flowers. So once I've done that very first thumbnail sketch, I then start looking and seeing, well, what will happen if I change those tonal relationships? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm changing the tonal relationships that exist. So I might go, okay, in this sketch, instead of having, the cup being the darker shape, let's make the tabletop the darker shape. So, make that a dark shape. And then I'll move on and have a look and go, okay, what if I make the flowers still the lightest light, and then the background a mid-tone? And how does that change the relationship between those shapes? So then I can move on and I can do the opposite. I can go, okay, what if I make the flowers a darker shape? What if I make the flowers a darker shape? How does that look? I mean, I'm constantly thinking and doing things and going, okay, how do these objects relate to each other? How do they sort of interact with each other? So as you can see, my shapes, they are not they're not particularly accurate. They are broad. I'm looking for the bigger silhouetted shape. I'm only trying to capture the feeling of the shape, not the detail. And I'm just keeping my thumbnail full of tonal shapes that I can see. And so I'm seeing how they interact with each other, as you can see in this example. Now, I've noticed that when I get my students to do thumbnails, I'll go, make sure your thumbnail is quite small. You can see this piece of paper here. It is about an A4 size piece of paper. And on that A4 size piece of paper, I've already done 3 small thumbnails. So that's how small they are. I usually find that when I tell my students go back and do thumbnails, I get back to their desk and I've noticed that they've done a half an A4 sheet of paper, or they've actually filled in the whole entire A4 sheet of paper with one sketch. That's not a thumbnail, that's a sketch. What we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate detail. We are trying to just get the broader shapes, the bigger shapes, as you can see in this example of the flower and the cup. There are essentially only 4 different objects in there. There's flowers, there's a cup, there's the tabletop, and then there's a background. So there's 4 shapes. Same thing with my landscape. There was only really 4 shapes. There was the foreground, the trees, the distant hillside, and then the sky. So if you can limit the shapes that you're putting into your thumbnails to 4 to 5, you'll find it a lot easier to create them very quickly. So you need to just basically cut out all the details. So that squinting that I kept on telling you about, it's going to help you eliminate the detail. You don't want to put detail into your sketches. You just want to see. It's really interesting. I'm actually enjoying watching myself do this because it just sort of shows me, this is what is going through my head. And the thing that is going through my head is I'm thinking, okay, this is the tonal shape I want for this object. This is the tonal shape I want for that object. And I'm starting to design my painting. There is a little bit more, obviously, to it. We're going to look at that in a different video where we start designing by moving objects around, so changing the shape of things. Maybe, I might change the direction of a flower, or I might eliminate flowers, or I might, crop into the actual design and everything like that. And that will be something that I'll discuss in a different video. But for this particular exercise, what I want you to be doing is I want you to be looking at tonal shapes and seeing their interaction between each other, and then we'll get on to being a little bit more creative and removing and eliminating and designing. But essentially, this is actually, I've already started that design process because I've already created 5 different variations on the one subject. I've created 5 different looking paintings, and each one of these has an absolute beauty to it. And I would be I could get quite excited to paint any of these ones, but there'll be, particularly ones that might stand out to you, and you go, oh, absolutely, I really want to paint that. And that's what I'm saying, that enthusiasm will suddenly come in to actually, once you've done a thumbnail, because you'll suddenly see the potential of this subject. You can start seeing, well, what else can I do with it? So that is why I always encourage my students to start with thumbnails, and I hope that this has been quite a good learning experience for you. I look forward to hearing your comments in the down below. See you in the next video, guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye.